What's going on, Junkie Nation? Gorgeous George and Goes catching up with one of our favorites. His name's Jared Brooks, the Monkey God. He's going to be headlining one championship show coming up here on August 2nd in Thailand. Now, folks, you can watch the fights on Amazon Prime, and the scheduled start time is 8 p.m. Eastern. This is for the interim strawweight MMA World Championship. What's going on, Jared? How are you?
I'm great, man. It's a blessing to be on MMA Junkie again. You guys have been interviewing me since 2016, and nothing's been realer than MMA Junkie. That's for sure.
Thank you.
Thanks, man. Um, So Tapology has this listed as an interim flyweight championship, and I'm also seeing that this is for the interim strawweight championship. If you look at what one publishes, right?
Mhm.
Just to get it straight, you are a hydrated 125, but competing for a 115 title. Is that what it is?
So, one championship, they put it into terms to where guys are hydrated while they're at, like, let's just say 125.
Uh-huh.
Man, I know plenty of fighters that are in one championship that cut from 140. I mean, my last opponent, Joshua Pasiao, he was cutting from 145. So all you got to do is drink 500 milliliters before you get on the scale, and you're good.
Yeah, but I just want to make sure though. But if you were fighting in the United States, this would be a strawweight title, right?
No, it'd
You
be a
would you
flyweight
would cut
title.
down to 115 and then rehydrate and fight the next day.
No,
10.
no, this would be a flyweight title. This would be at 125.
Oh, it would be okay. So you're walking around at a hydrated 135, 140.
Dude, I don't cut weight, so that's I'm a different kind of breed when it comes down to the strawweight division. But yeah, a lot of these guys they cut weight. I don't. I don't have to. I just like to stay at like 127, 126. Stay around that realm.
Why
Just
is that? You don't feel like maybe in the fourth or fifth round you might feel that size from someone that's 10, 15 pounds bigger?
I think that they would end up feeling that at the end of a fight because they've been cutting weight and they've been depleting themselves. They've been depleting the brain. And if you guys, I mean, you guys know about me. I don't stop. I'm constantly
True.
going start to finish, and I'm probably one of the strongest flyweights in the world, and I'm 126 pounds. So I'm not really worried about bigger guys. I mean, I fought Davis and Figueiredo for Christ's sakes. The guy's 150 pounds, and I was like 122 at that time at age 23. So yeah, I'm not really worried about weight differences or anything like that. If I was fighting 35, yeah, I would have to bulk up. But I'm at 125. I think that this is smooth sailing for me at this weight.
Hmm. What are your goals here? As we start to enter another phase of your career, because we met a younger Jared Brooks for sure in Japan. You're older now. I think you're closing in on 25 fights. So you got this title fight ahead of you. What is it? What would you like to do for the next couple of years? What are your goals?
Whatever one championship puts in front of me, I knock it down completely. I've had some shortcomings, and my shortcomings have been really weird. But I'm wanting to take over one championship and actually show people what a true martial artist is about. And I can talk the talk, I can walk the walk, I can push through, and I can bring momentum into fans if once they start to catch on. It's like I haven't had enough momentum for fans to really catch on to me yet. So hopefully, with this fight and another fight, I can maybe get into the United States market and use that momentum to show people that I am a true champion and a true goer and somebody that is a fighter's fighter.
It's funny you bring up that word momentum. It's actually in my notes because actually you brought up two things I want to talk about. The losses are not like traditional losses in my eyes, right? They're kind of strange. Do you believe that a win here could you maybe possibly catch that momentum that you had before just because of the circumstances around it?
I mean, as far as my career goes, I did go on a two-fight losing streak in the UFC when I went against Figueiredo, and then I knocked myself out. I thought I won the Figueiredo fight. Everybody else thought I won the Figueiredo fight, and then I unfortunately knocked myself out like a dumbass, and that was a very unfortunate circumstance in my career and in the UFC. But I got cut off of off of a win in the UFC, which they're still doing to this day. But I'm not really worried about, like I said in my past interviews, I really just don't give a fuck anymore. I'm wanting to go out and I want to fight and I want to put fisticuffs up and fight some of the best in the world and get paid for it.
You know, there is actually a way where possibly the UFC comes to you. If you think about it, Muhammad Mokaev, he might not have a job with the UFC, speaking of cuts. And I don't know that there's as many players anymore out there. What would you think of him maybe coming to you and fighting Muhammad Mokaev? What do you think of him as a fighter or as a potential future opponent?
I think Muhammad Mokaev is a world beater for sure. He is young and he's tried to gain strides and momentum, but I think that he fights differently with every fight. So if somebody comes to him, he usually comes to other people and he tries to take them down. He tries to keep the distance with kicks and soccer kicks, stuff like that. But man, Mokaev, I think that he showed his real self, that he's actually afraid. And he cuts a lot of weight, man. Cuts a lot of weight. And he was saying, I remember even 2 years ago, he was just like, my goal is to be the UFC champion by 23 and then retire. I don't want to fight anymore. So it's just like, okay, how long did you want to go in this game, bro? You wanted to. I think that's one of the reasons why the UFC wanted to cut him, was because he had all of these big plans for himself and he was putting himself on a pedestal that the UFC was just like, well, we don't need you as much as you need us. So Mohammed, he and his managers, whoever his managers are, I think that they tried to display to the UFC that he was worth more than what he was pitching. And I think that that last fight actually showed what Muhammad Mokaev was worth. And same with Manel Cape. Manel is a fighter's fighter. I think that he's a goer. He fought that fight with a broken toe. So I'm not going to say anything like negative about him, but half of the time the guy can't make weight. He has canceled bouts back to back to back. And, I just think it looks really bad for the flyweight division and people that it just looks like he's trying to bully the flyweight division. He's a 35 pounder. So is Muhammad Mokaev. You guys aren't 25ers, man. You guys cut way too much weight at the end of the day. And it just shows you guys put on a lackluster performance in front of a Manchester crowd. You guys were supposed to kill it. You guys talked shit to each other the whole time. And then you guys look like dogs like through a fence. And then when the fence opens, you guys are just not doing shit. So I think that both of those guys learned a big lesson that night, and I wish nothing but the best for Muhammad Mokaev. Hopefully he does come into my realm so I can show him a couple of lessons and show that one championship ain't nothing to play with either, bro. If he goes to PFL, whatever, I don't care. Like I said, I don't give a shit. You put names in front of me at this point, I'm knocking them down. And I've just trained super hard the past, year and a half, 2 years. I haven't had to come up that I wanted to in one championship so far. So hopefully with this fight, I can show people the true Jared Brooks and show people that I am the best in the world, no matter what organization, PFL, UFC, one championship, it doesn't matter. I'm the best flyweight in the world. And if you want to come and test it, come fuck with me.
Hey, Jared. So we've always known you not as just an entertaining guy, but an entertaining fighter as well. This all translates into the cage for you. But what is it like as a fighter to kind of uh, almost have to put up with your own brand, like be entertaining, but also get the win? Do you ever feel those pressures?
Not anymore. I used to feel those pressures when I was in the UFC, and COVID happened. I fought in Horizon. I had a good little draw there, but after that, I remember I was working at a dispensary. I was selling weed, and I was like, "What am I doing with my life? And how much does this actually mean to me?" And the love that I have gotten back from the sport to what I've actually put in, it wasn't compensated. So I just don't, like I said, I don't give a fuck. It's not like one of these things to where I'm like, oh, I'm so worried about what Shatri, what Dana, what all of these guys think of me. I'm not worried about any of that, and I'm not worried about winning or losing. I'm worried about going out and competing and showing the best version of me, period, and showing people that I'm a mixed martial artist fucking dream.
Jared, the reason I was laying out the weights earlier is because I know you got Balart ahead of you in this interim title, right? But
Yeah.
Demetrius Johnson hasn't retired, but he also hasn't fought in about just over a year. And I was wondering, is that kind of like a dream scenario if you win this to kind of somehow draw the GOAT, into a fight, I guess? Because you're a good talker and you're a good entertainer, like Go said.
Yeah, man. It's kind of like if it was like MGK and Eminem, battling. I'm pretty sure that MGK you felt a sort of a satisfaction getting to go against the GOAT. And he got his ass kicked, but at the same time, there is that form of satisfaction, and I think that that's something that I've strived for since the beginning of my career in 2012. And I think that that would be something that is checked off of the bucket list. And if I beat Demetrius Johnson, it'll just bring my name up way, way higher in the echelon in mixed martial arts and the combat sports world. But I'm not worried about fighting Demetrius Johnson anymore. It seems like he wants to do boxing matches. Seems like he wants to go outside of his realm. They need to give Reese McLaren the championship then, and I'll fight Reese McLaren and I'll beat his Australian ass. And it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, maybe one day it can happen. Like I say, he technically hasn't retired yet.
I've called him out. I've called him out nicely. I've called him out disrespectfully. I've called him out every which way you can, right? And
Any responses?
no responses at all. So it's like if he thinks of me like that, like I'm not shit, to not respond. I mean, the guy blocked me on Instagram back when I was in the UFC. So I think that he seen when I was gonna fight Ian McCall how I treated Ian McCall, and he was just like, you know what, I'm not having any of this shit from this punk ass kid. So from now, I'm not gonna be like super disrespectful to Demetrius, but I have called him out in a respectful way, and I've called him out in a disrespectful way, and I try to gain fans, I try to gain momentum, and it wasn't working. So at this point, if they want to put the fight on, then put the fight on. But if not, I'm done talking about it.
Next time we have him on, we'll ask him about it and see if.
That'd be beautiful.
First of all, you got to find out if the dude's fighting, and then of course you got your business ahead of you here on August 2nd on Amazon Prime for what is being billed by One Championship as the strawweight interim title, but it's actually the flyweight interim title. Jared Brooks against Gustavo Balart. We'll definitely be tuning in. 8 p.m. Eastern is what time it's going to be shown on Amazon Prime. It's always great catching up with you. We'll let you go smash some more bananas or whatever you got to do.
Hey.
And we'll talk to you soon, Jared.
You guys are amazing. Thank you for having me on. And anytime that you guys want me on, I'll be more than happy to come on. So you guys have an amazing day. Blessings to your family and whoever's watching. Make sure you guys watch me August 2nd. I'm going to catch a body, and I'm going to keep on piling them up.
Nice one. All right. Take care, brother.
All right, brother. Thank you.